So hey guys, welcome to my review of Ultimate Spider-Man issue number 12. Now before I start my review, I would like to let you guys know that I do have the digital code for Avengers vs. X-Men round 7 or issue number 7. And I also have a digital code for Ultimate Spider-Man issue number 12 as well. So if you guys would like those codes, please let me know down on the comments below. But please just pick one of them. Just be fair because I want to give one of them to another person, the other one to the other person. So it's fair, so you don't have to hog both codes. But please let me know which one you want, Avengers vs. X-Men or Ultimate Spider-Man. And just to let you guys know again, I am sorry. I apologize ahead of time if you aren't able to get the codes, and please make sure you look at the comments before asking me because some people might have asked already, so don't just jump the gun and, ask me without looking at the comments below first because I don't want to give you guys the bad news saying that someone else already took it. So, yeah, with that being said, let's start my review of Ultimate Spider-Man issue number 12. Now, in the last issue of Ultimate Spider-Man, we see Miles Morales and his uncle actually take out the Scorpion, or mostly Miles actually does that. He takes out the Scorpion, and basically, the cops apprehend him, and it seems like everybody seems to start, to adjust to the new Spider-Man. Are they still they're starting to accept him as a new Spider-Man. And that's great. And then by the end of the issue, actually, his uncle actually left him midway through the battle with the Scorpion because he was too busy looting the whole entire gang, and Miles had to deal with the Scorpion himself. So Miles is a bit upset and a bit suspicious that his uncle is actually using him, not trying to do good, but actually just using him for his own gain. And that's what I've been talking about. So Miles figures this out, and he decides to tell his uncle, no, I'm not going to join you anymore. I'm not going to work for you. Okay? I'm going to do my own thing. And his uncle says, do I have to talk to your father about this, or do I have to tell your parents about your little dark secret? And Miles, glares at his cell phone at that text message. And by the end of the issue, we see Aunt May and Gwen Stacy actually asking to see the new Spider-Man. That's how the issue ends. And that's where generally this issue picks up. We see Uncle Aaron talking to Miles through the cell phone, through text, and of course Miles is still telling him, no, I'm not going to join you. I know you're using me, and I'm not going to do anything for you anymore. And of course his uncle gets really pissed off and says, you're playing with fire here. And he basically flies away with his vulture mechanical wings, and Miles is at school now, pondering on whether or not should he continue working with his uncle, or should he tell his parents up front that he's Spider-Man. And that's a difficult decision for him, and he's talking to Genki about this, and he's really distracted at school, so he's not being able to pay attention in class and whatnot. And basically, while he's actually talking about being Spider-Man, trying to fight his uncle, with Genki, someone actually overhears this, and Genki says, shouldn't we... Or Miles says, shouldn't we, be a hush-hush about this? We shouldn't be talking about me being Spider-Man or me fighting my uncle, out in the open, and Genki's like, well, we're losers. No one likes us. We're nerds. Who cares about us, right? Who cares about what we're talking about? No one's ever going to overhear, but actually someone is overhearing. Not a little girl, but a girl with glasses, with pigtails, actually overhears this conversation. That's kind of interesting here, here. And afterwards, Miles is actually confronted by his uncle outside of his house, and his uncle says, okay, so should I go in there with you? Should I hold your hand and, go in there and tell your father and mother that you're Spider-Man? Are you going to be scared? Do you need me to hold your hand? And Miles says, okay, fine. Okay, he decides, he keeps taunting him. So he gives in again and says, okay, fine, I'll help you out. Just leave my parents alone, leave my family alone, okay? And leave, everybody else in my life alone, okay? And I'll do whatever you want. And his uncle's satisfied and walks away and tells him, okay, we'll meet at the same spot tonight. And basically, Miles goes into the house, and he seems like he's still pondering whether or not he should tell his parents. And afterwards, he actually meets up with his uncle, the same time as, the last issue, on top of the rooftop. But you know what? Plot twist! Miles actually, puts on his big boy pants and tells his uncle, no! no, I'm gonna fight you. You're gonna leave my family alone and get the hell out of my, city, or get out of the city right now before I beat you, okay? Before I beat you. That's what he's sort of telling his uncle. Of course, his uncle starts getting enraged and he says, do you know what you're talking to? Respect your elder, okay? Respect me, okay? I'm your uncle. And basically, a fight ensues. Now, this fight is actually interesting. As they're fighting, it's a really great action scene. I actually pretty like it. But then afterwards, Miles actually falls on top of a bus, and basically his uncle uses the shocker technology to actually blast the bus away, and it explodes, and Miles has to save the civilians inside, and basically he gets distracted. But later on, the bus actually explodes while his uncle's actually in front of the bus, and basically he gets caught in the explosion. And Miles actually tells his uncle beforehand that he's not like him, that he is a hero, that with great power comes great responsibility, and this is what he needs to do. And by the end of this issue, when his uncle actually gets caught in the explosion, you actually see sort of his face is a bit deformed or charred, and he tells Miles, "You are just like me." And that's how this issue ends. Now, I know that's a long summary, but there's a lot of things to actually talk about in this issue. Now, I'm going to start by saying about the girl that overhears what Miles and Genki are talking about. Now, this is just my speculation and what I think, so you guys don't have to agree with me. But when I saw this girl overhear what they were talking about, I'm like, could this be a potential Mary Jane or Gwen Stacy in the comic? For Miles, a love interest maybe? Ooh, who knows? I don't know. Because hopefully she gets brought up in the next previous issue or next couple issues. Maybe she confronts Miles about what he's been doing or what they're talking about. And maybe she will join the Spider-Man gang, or the people who know who he is or who Spider-Man is. Now that's interesting thing. But the other interesting thing here is about Miles and Uncle's interaction in this issue. Now, I love how Miles does put on his big boy pants and confronts his uncle and tells him, no, I'm not going to let you bully me. I know you're using me, and now it's time for me to step up and be the hero I am. I am going to fight for, my spot in this, city, and I'm not going to be your lackey. And basically when he fights him and tells him with great power comes great responsibility, I love how he actually used that he is not going to use his powers for evil, not to use them to be used by other people, by bad people like his uncle, and telling him that I don't want to be like you. Like I said, he still fears about becoming a potential villain or somebody like that, or some bad person because his father and uncle used to be bad, or his uncle still is bad. And then later on, when, his uncle gets caught in an explosion and tells Miles, you are just like me. And I know Miles is going to take this really, really hard, and he actually is going to think that he has become his uncle. And this is basically a bump in, the road to becoming Spider-Man, or potentially finally fulfilling his, the shoes of Spider-Man, or the costume of Spider-Man. And that's a really, really big hurdle he has to go over. And I know people are going to complain like, oh, he should just get over it. It's not his fault. And I actually do agree. It is not his fault. Miles didn't get his uncle caught in that explosion. Yes, he did throw the first punch. Yes, they started fighting. And it was basically because of Miles threatening his uncle. But it wasn't Miles' fault. Miles was only protecting his family, himself, okay? This is something he has to deal with on his own. He didn't just, throw a punch because he hated his uncle. And even though they were fighting, he actually does try to help his uncle out. As his uncle falls from the building from a punch, Miles actually tries to jump and leap for him and try to grab him before he, falls to the ground. But his uncle already latched onto one of those ladders, or whatever balcony things, hanging, sticking on the side of a building. And basically, he gets hit by the Shocker's technology. And yeah, so it's interesting that Miles is not potentially like his uncle or like his father beforehand. He is actually a good person. Now, I know it's going to be hard for him to overcome this, but it will be nice to see how he's actually going to deal with this. And like I said, I don't like his uncle. When Miles finally stepped up his game and, told his uncle in his face, I don't like you. Stay away from my family. I was like, that's awesome. And his uncle did deserve what was coming to him, in my opinion. Even though I don't think he should have got caught in the explosion, I wish he would get caught by the police officers or something worse, but nothing like, you know, like that. But for him to sort of tell Miles that you are just like me because he got caught in the explosion is a sleazy way to go, meaning like, it's sort of like how, I'm going to compare this to The Walking Dead, where, you know, in the TV series, Rick had to kill Shane, and when he kills Shane, it's sort of turning Rick into this person. He's already killed many people. Well, not many people, but he's killed a couple human beings already. And for him to kill Shane is finally stepping that bound. And this is sort of like that in a way, how Miles' uncle is actually just doing that just to freak with, you know, Miles, just to screw with him and make him feel, you know, less about himself and make him feel like he maybe shouldn't be a hero. And that's really interesting. That's a really great plot point that could, you know, affect Miles really, 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 really great. And that's what I really liked about this issue. I love Ultimate Spider-Man issue number 12. I am glad these things are picking up. And if you guys are going to ask, what happened to Gwen Stacy and Aunt May? Now, they don't appear in this issue, but just be happy that this issue was actually pretty great. Even though Aunt May and Gwen Stacy weren't here, they will probably appear later on, but so far it's picking up and it's actually going good right now. It's not slow anymore, it's actually starting to pick up, and Ultimate Spider-Man is a great read now. I actually sort of enjoy what's going on. Like I said, I never read the previous Ultimate Spider-Man comics, and I probably would like the old series over this one, but still, on its own, this is really, really great and fantastic, and I highly suggest you guys pick this issue up. It's fantastic. If you guys have dropped Ultimate Spider-Man, or, you know, haven't bothered picking it up, pick it up now, or pick up the next, or pick up issue 11 and then pick this one up. Or if you know about his quarrel with his uncle Miles and his uncle, you know, having beef with each other, then pick this issue up to see how things go. It's really, really great. I love this issue. I rate it a 4.5 out of 5, and I highly suggest you guys pick this up. And yeah, if you guys like this review, just, you know, put it on the likes, or, you know, whatever you want to do. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed this review. So I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.